Hi, welcome to Seth Studio YouTube channel. I'm making sculpture in the round using paper mache, and I'm going to make a little sea turtle. Really ball it up. Use newspaper or packing paper, whatever you've got around. Really squish this down, and when you're ready, you're going to carefully tape it down one way and then the other way. It doesn't matter what size masking tape you use, whatever you've got, it works. So I'm wrapping it, and it will take a lot of tape. Use as much tape as you need. Squish it, use your hands, and really push it down. So I thought I needed a little bit more for the shell, so I made an extra piece. You don't have to do this, but I like to add as I go. You can add as much as you want to it and sculpt it. This is going to take the longest time, is what I call making the structure. So just add a piece over some balled up paper, and that makes it a little bit smoother, and wrap it. I'm making the neck and the head. At the end of the neck is going to be pretty soft and easy to attach, and the head I will sculpt even more as I go. So using tape, wrapping it around, swishing it down. It needs to be solid, it can't be flimsy. So I'm taping it one way, and then I'm going to tape it the other way, really making sure everything is attached. It can't be floppy, it just really needs to be firm and pressed on. So I added more to the face. I'm sculpting, adding with the tape and the newspaper or the packing paper. I'm bulking out the eyes, and then I'm wrapping tape around it and smushing it down. So notice also how I take the tape and then just tear it as I go. So have fun with this. You do not have to make a turtle. I think a turtle is pretty reasonable to make. It's kind of fun to make. But you can make anything in the paper mache. It's quite amazing in my opinion. But notice how I'm pressing down with all my fingers and thumbs and really trying to mold it and shape it and create a sculpture that I'm satisfied with. And be patient with yourself as you make this. It might take over an hour to create the structure. Covering it with a layer of paper mache will not take very long, but you really need to make sure that it's completely solid and ready for the paper mache paste. So I have some tricks and tips that you can watch. For instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the cardboard. I made them equal. This cardboard is pretty soft. You don't have to use a really thick cardboard. And then I turn it back and forth. I call this fraying it, so that it allows it to attach a lot easier on one side, and then I'm going to tape it down on the other side. You really again want to make sure that this is fully attached, that it's not flopping around, that it's part of its own structure. And this is called making sculpture. This is sculpture in the round. It's kind of fun, I think. So again, the back legs, tape it both sides. Really make sure it's attached, it's not flopping off. I see that all the time, and you're only going to be happier if you use a lot of tape. Seems like a lot of tape, but in the end it will attach itself really nicely. So I'm adding paper as I think I need it. You don't have to do this, but this is part of creating sculpture the way you want it to look. And look at the picture of a turtle to get some ideas as well. So I'm going to let you watch this for a bit. Oh yeah, really try to squish everything down, massage it, and all of that. Great. Okay, so now I'm ready for the paper mache. So the paper mache, I like to use long strips, and I get them damp. They're dampened strips. And so I crisscross it, and it takes a while in the beginning, so be patient if this kind of pops off. Wrap it in both directions, really smooth it out. You need enough paste to really get it on the tape. The tape will resist it for a while, but once you get enough, it will start to attach. And you want to cover absolutely everything. You want one full layer over the tape and over the cardboard and paper. Whatever is showing, it needs to be covered with the wet strips. Now these are not super wet. If you use too much paste, it will basically melt everything. And it just basically starts to kind of flop and dissolve. So if it's soggy like that, just add more paper on top of it. If it's not doing that, if everything starts to kind of fall apart, then put it off to the side, let it dry for the day, and then you can work on it again. So I'm using smaller pieces of the paper mache for smaller areas. I tear as I go. I get the long strips, and then I tear it off as I put it on it. This is a lot of fun, It's a little sticky. The art paste is a little sticky, but it will allow you to put lots of different things on top of it, like paint and markers, so it's really worth the process. So slow down if you've never done this before. Really make sure you've covered everything. You can do 2 layers. It takes about 24 hours for this to air dry. Do not use the hair dryer for this. It really gets it it needs the full air. And you need to kind of prop it up so it can air dry all around it instead of sitting on something. It will get a little wet there. Basically, don't paint it when it's wet. You just really want to make sure that the paper mache has had its chance to, I guess what you would call, cure. So make sure you're smoothing everything out again with your thumbs and your hands and your fingers and everything to smooth it out. You can add too. You can ball this up with a paper mache and add it as well and start to sculpt with the paper mache. So yes, some people use newspaper. It's thinner. They might prefer that. I like the white copy paper. It kind of gives you a nice base to paint on. But if you have newspaper and that's what you want to use, you're more than welcome to. The copy paper is thicker. It's a little bit faster to cover, but it does make it kind of bumpy. So some people might not prefer that. All right, when it's dry, you get to paint it. See what I just did? I just balled it up, and then I'm going to cover that piece with a damp piece, and it's kind of like a band-aid on top of it. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, liking, subscribing to my YouTube channel. This is how to make sculpture using paper mache, and I was creating a sea turtle. Take care.